Julia Morrow and her 30-year-old granddaughter, 28-year-old Inati Morrow.
There is a connection. We are unraveling that.
So everything is incredibly loud tonight. People are all over the place. I'm staring at Eric Telford right now. There's Jim Garrity. It's a show, my good friends. It's going to be a great night. But you're here. We're going to let it happen. Some people, this chair here, this one right here, this chair, people be sitting in. Some guests, you never know. We're going to have ourselves a good time. So stick with it. We'll start in just a few minutes.
You're dealing with hardened criminals that are trying to take care of any potential witnesses at a scene. All of that is very concerning to us.
Riggs says that's why the city is gearing up to put more officers on city streets. Mike Corbin, 93 WIBC News.
What do you get when you
Tony, did you want to do phones tonight or no because of your interviews and because of the background noise?
You can, yeah, if you're talking about Prime Image, you don't have to do it.
Me and my brother really.
Okay, no, and then phone calls?
Yeah, let me know about those. I'll always do those.
Okay, I just figured with the background noise it could be a little bit shaky.
Nah.
And so we're like, yeah, but we have to make a shit.
And no Prime Image, got it.
Your head.
The annual Lemonade Day earlier this month provides a seed fund for startup of next year's grade school entrepreneurs. You're up to date. Get local news on demand at WIBC.com. Now
Peggy
here's the
Venable
forecast
right there.
from the American Standard.
There she is.
Weather
It's actually happening. See, they can see you. There you are, right there.
Temperatures
I know you
comfortable
do.
down to 59
Thank
by
you.
morning. Weekend forecast
We're not talking
sunny,
about Texas
84
today.
Saturday, partly
So you
sunny,
can go down.
85 on Sunday.
I'm done with you.
Enjoy. I'm RTV6
That's what I'm
meteorologist
told
Kevin Gregory.
from Texans usually.
If you want to be more
From
flexible
Texans, I'm
physically,
told the world
you can
revolves
talk
around
to a
Texans.
yoga instructor.
Breathe
you a Texan?
deeply, pull the air down into your joints, and let your bones
Ew,
spiral
a
out.
wildcat.
But if you want to be more
Oh,
flexible
that's
financially,
gross.
talk to a BMO Harris banker about a
Man,
home equity
wildcats
line
are
of credit.
gross.
Tapping into your home's equity will give you greater flexibility to do things like renovate your kitchen
Yes.
or repave your
Yes, you
driveway.
do.
You can use the funds to consolidate debt, pay
30
tuition,
seconds until you're bed.
When I'm good and ready.
or to pay for unexpected
Lady.
expenses.
We can add in another spot if you'd like.
Why
No,
not flex your
I'm ready.
muscles and stop
Okay.
into a nearby
My
BMO Harris branch.
Yeah,
to discuss your
beautiful eye
options.
wings. Very
Or if
odd
you like,
camera angles.
visit
Not
us
much I can do
online.
about that.
Feel your fingers
Not
tightly.
much I can do about it. It's
BMOHarris.com.
15 seconds until you're
just
bed.
the way it is.
Equal housing lender, NMLS
I'm coming right at you.
401052. BMO Harris is a trade name used by BMO Harris Bank N.A.
Cleansing breath.
Member FDIC.
Stand by.
Standing by.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tony Katz Tonight.
You are go.
If you can't hear it. No, I am not in studio. Coming to you live from Houston, Texas. Texas Online Conference going on all weekend long. Absolutely thrilled to be with all of you. 317-239-9393. Toll free 800-571-9422. We have a lot of guests here, but nothing bigger than the VA Secretary Shinseki resigning, followed by Jay Carney resigning. I will take them in two unique propositions. Let's start with Shinseki. Of course, the VA scandal. We've been talking about it. The secret wait lists that have existed, that have been keeping veterans from getting coverage, from getting care, from being able to see a doctor, veterans dying because they've been put on fake waiting lists in order for bureaucrats to make more money. Now, it's very odd very often when you hear a capitalist like I am say, how dare they try and make more money? Well, capitalism is not about killing people, and that's what the VA is about. Going a step further, that is exactly what will happen under a forced healthcare system administered by the government. They're not capable of doing it, ladies and gentlemen, and all the proof that you need is what has happened in the VA. It is all the proof that you need. You need no other. The resignation, of course, was in many, many ways expected, even though President Obama is not a man who does anything regarding leadership. It was expected, especially when you heard Democrats themselves saying that Shinseki has to go. They understood the level of albatross around the president's neck, around the administration's neck, around Democrats' neck, heading in to a midterm election that is important for them. They need to do as well as they can in this midterm election because it's that 2016 when the Senate is really back up for grabs that they can get rid of all of those senators that were taken in on the Tea Party run of 2010. People like Rubio, for example. There is going to be a lot of push in that direction. They want to get as much momentum as they can now in order to make it happen. They're trying very hard not to lose that Senate, although I think it is rather difficult for them to hold on to the Senate. So they needed some movement from Shinseki. They needed to be able to scapegoat somebody. It's kind of interesting to see this administration do it. But the story is that it was a resignation and not a firing. That means that when President Obama sees a scandal of this magnitude, veterans left to die, clearly a cooking of the books, clearly, and not just in Arizona. Everyone wants to focus on Phoenix, Arizona, that VA hospital. This was a pandemic, if you will. This was happening all across the country. The IG report is damning at best. We talked about it just the other day, 1,500 at one. Not being on lists, being told they had an appointment when no appointment was being made at all. This is awful, sick, twisted stuff that is beneath us on every single level. It's beneath us. It's beneath who we are as Americans. It's beneath who we are as human beings. That we would take those who fight and tell them they have appointments when they didn't. But it wasn't a firing. It is worth remembering and worth discussing. It should be part of the national conversation. It should be part of the national conversation because leaders fire people. When there is this level of negligence, when there is this amount of gross misconduct, when there is this, what do you want to call it? This sick, twisted minds that are running the VA. You're supposed to fire people on every level, including the top. What did we get from President Obama today? That he regretfully, with regret, that means, accepted the resignation of General Shinseki. Now, he then went through Shinseki's entire resume, and yes, Shinseki is a man who has served admirably, and Shinseki is a man who has a long, decorated history in the U.S. military. I do not doubt this for a moment. I do not, without any supporting documentation, challenge it. It's just that none of it matters. But President Obama wanted to dig into how much that mattered when really what mattered, and all that mattered, was showing the troops, showing the vets, showing Americans that this really does matter to you. If this really mattered, if this was something that was a passion, if this was something we considered to be incredibly, incredibly important, it would not be something in terms of the resignation that you accept regretfully. It would be something that you accept clearly. You are proud to accept it. You asked for it. You demanded it. Or one better, the place where it should have gone from the beginning. You would have fired him. You see, firing. Mitt Romney got mocked for saying that he likes to be able to fire people. I remember that clearly during the 2012 election. He got mocked. Like that's a horrible thing. No. That is everything. You want to be able to fire people when they fail. And there was a lot of failure. And even with all the failure, even with all of the proof of all the failure, President Obama still didn't fire anybody. He still couldn't bring himself to fire someone. I was in an airport. I was traveling out to Houston today. I was in the Phoenix airport, LA to Phoenix to Houston. That's the usual route for me when I go anywhere. Phoenix is where I hub. And one of the lines, which was hilarious, one of the lines that was used by Gloria Borger, it was stunning, was that President Obama doesn't like to fire people much. Doesn't much. When in the world has he fired anybody? When does he fire anybody? You've got the IRS scandal, no one gets fired. You've got the NSA spying on you, no one gets fired. You've got dead veterans, no one gets fired. That's a total lack of leadership. They kept saying how the president values loyalty. I'm not interested in the president valuing loyalty. If he wants to be loyal to his friends on his own time, in his personal life, I say good for you. But when I have dead veterans, and I clearly understand the level to which these doctors, these bureaucrats were involved in cooking the books to ensure they could continue to get their bonuses, somebody has to be responsible, and you hold them responsible, and when it's egregious enough, you fire them. That's what you do. I cannot get that from President Obama. He's not capable of the thing. That is not a quality that we should look at and say, that's worthwhile, that's good. Oh, yeah, that's something to admire. It's nothing to admire. It's shameful. It is shameful that he couldn't bring himself to care enough about them to fire someone. Am I glad that that Shinseki is gone? I'm going to say yes. Would I thought it was a much better show of strength and solidarity, and that something may actually get fixed if the president had taken charge? Yes, but he didn't. Because the deep, dark reality, ladies and gentlemen, is, of course, he can't. He doesn't have what it takes. He doesn't have the willingness. He doesn't have the strength. He doesn't have the leadership skills. It's because he's not a leader. We've got much more ahead, live from Texas Online in Houston, Texas, everybody. This is Tony Katz Tonight.
If you hunt, fish, camp, or do
sorry about that
anything
camera
in the
stuff, guys.
outdoors,
That's crazy.
There's another
see what I can do
great
to
new
fix that.
place in Indy for you. Because in addition to our stores in Avon, Castleton, and Greenwood, we now have an all-new Gander Mountain Outdoor Superstore in Greenfield. Inside, you'll find everything you need for whatever you do outside, including Indiana's largest selection of new and used firearms, hundreds of fishing rods, a full line of men's and women's outdoor performance apparel and footwear, plus the very best in outdoor technology and camping gear. And the Gander Mountain in Greenfield has all the brands you know and trust, like Under Armour, Columbia, Remington, Shimano, and many more. You can always count on Gander Mountain for great brands, the best prices, and outdoor specialists to answer your questions and give you great one-on-one service. The all-new Gander Mountain, now open in Greenfield at I-70 and exit 104. It's not just a new store, it's a whole new kind of outdoor store experience. Gander Mountain. We live outdoors.
Stay tuned for a special offer that will rejuvenate and
I'm so dumb. I got the worst sunburn today.
In the Indianapolis area, you may be a candidate.
Look like a lobster.
That helps remove wrinkles,
Were you calling my
frown
name?
lines, and sagging skin on your.
I was just making conversation because I'm in here alone.
It's the groundbreaking technique that delivers
I had to take the earphones off
natural
for a
beauty.
second.
After a simple
The way this is set up, they're very, very loud for me. So
you'll look more youthful.
You know, I really can't hear the background noise. When we were on the air, I couldn't hear it.
Call now and come see us.
because more of my voice drowning out the other.
Facial
Excellent.
analysis, but not everyone's a candidate,
Excellent,
so call
excellent.
us
Let
to
me
see
see
if
what
you
I
qualify. And for the
can
first
do
time
here
in the Indianapolis area,
and
everyone
see
who
if the
calls right
cameras
now
now
for a
work
free private consultation will
to
receive
make
a
that happen.
$250 gift certificate good for select procedures. Call right now at 800-456-7968.
All right, so far it seems to be working. Let's see if
Find out
it
about
stays that
flexible
way.
payment options.
It might
Call
not.
800-456-7968.
I mean, it's always a mystery,
Start
folks.
this spring with a fresh new look and a
Always
$250
a
gift certificate.
mystery.
Call now at 800-456-7968.
Hey, Claudia.
Again, 800-456-7968. 800-456-7968.
It doesn't take much, but life can change in an instant.
Do me a favor,
We currently
Peggy.
have
Tell Jim
7
Garrity to come in here.
confirmed dead.
We
Tell
keep you
Jim Garrity
updated
to
with the
come in.
latest information, so
Jim
you're
Horatio
better equipped to
Ignatius
face
Garrity.
the day. Because when the world changes, you want to be there, right along with it.
These are men and women who served our country.
That was the straw.
I want Jim Garrity. I'll take you later.
We've let them die.
On the level, on the go. 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Now during Menard's big sale, it's the perfect time to start your summer projects. Save big on lawn and garden, building supplies, plus much more. Renew and protect your driveway with Rust-Oleum epoxy
And next
shield
week
blacktop
is so
coating.
insane.
It
I
lasts
think
longer, plus covers more area than
Tuesday,
conventional coatings. Plus
Tuesday,
it dries quickly. It's ready
Stacy
to drive
Washington
on
is
in
it.
just 4 hours. On sale
So,
now, a
enjoy
2-gallon
that.
bucket of Rust-Oleum blacktop
No,
coating
just
is
Tuesday.
just $34.98 after rebate.
Save big money at Menards.
Save big money
I've graduated now. What?
at Menards.
I have no clue, man.
Found myself with nothing to do.
Trying to figure out how to pay off my debt.
The only thing I think I want to do is
Move back home, take it on the
3
real
hours
world.
next week, guys. 3 hours starts next week.
The real world problems.
Things are getting real.
We spend time in the real world.
And then I'm going to blow your mind.
Now the really hard part begins.
now it's about life.
93 WIBC.
93.
WIBC.com.
WIBC.
Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Grove Heating and Air Conditioning. Owner Al Grove says American Standard puts quality before everything else.
When I went into business myself, I went to see the American Standard distributor because I wanted that brand.
All right.
And I put it in, and I never have trouble with it.
Oh, look at that.
Grove Heating
Look
and
at
Air
him.
Conditioning
Sit
invites
there.
you to celebrate the indoors with
Sit
Comfort
there.
Plus
Look at you.
rebates this spring on American Standard
Got a
Air
camera.
Equipment. Get more info at
Yeah.
anyhomecomfort.com or call 322-8320.
Check out what's going on with
Young man.
93 WIBC.
You can win
Oh,
some
yeah.
great gift cards on our contest page.
This broadcast, they can see you.
Chow Down and Savor
They can hear
three-course
me in the-
value-priced menus
They'll be
during
able to hear
Chow
me.
Down Midtown from June 2nd
See, 'cause
through
I
the
don't have.
15th.
Yeah, I'll
For
get
a
you
list of
both on.
participating restaurants, menus, and other special offers,
Look at that.
visit
You're the Men in Black. Yeah.
chowdownmidtown.com. You can
I
also
see
win a
some
pair of
guests.
tickets to the
That's what
Good
it
Guys
says.
Car Show,
Some
All-American
guests.
Nationals,
I put you
taking
here.
place
This is
June
what they
6th.
see through the Google Hangout. 10
Grab
seconds
more
heard.
info online at WIBC.com. You're listening to
9
Tony Katz
million.
tonight. To talk
It's
to
Friday,
Tony,
so it's a smaller
call
number than
239-9393.
usual, but beautiful people. Don't talk about that. Don't say a word. Rednished, as my grandmother would say.
Big and bright. Deep in the heart.
She's playing Deep in the Heart of
of
Texas, my producer.
The prairie
That's awesome.
sky is wide.
That's awesome, Ashley.
Thank you.
Tony Katz
Or go.
tonight, joined by Jim Garrity of National Review and Dan McLaughlin of Red State. I know it's Red. You don't have to remind. I know it's Red State. Dear goodness. Now, a little word association, if I can, guys. Jay Carney resigns, and Jim, the first word you say is hack. Dan?
Untruth.
But he did resign. What he says is untruth.
Soviet also comes to mind.
I don't know how he's going to afford the posters anymore. I am very worried about him.
So I was actually informed earlier today. I don't know how reliable this rumor is. I am spreading slanderous, horrible untruths over the airwaves on the Tony Katz program. But I've heard that, Jay Carney, who used to be a correspondent over in Moscow, had an interest in being the U.S. ambassador to Russia. And that had expressed interest in the position, expressed his interest to the president, and obviously the president went in a different direction in the sense that Jay Carney is a journalist and a press spokesman, and that diplomacy with Russia under the best of circumstances requires a wee bit more than that.
Who right now is our ambassador to China? Max Baucus. Yeah. Max Baucus. I ask you now, Dan, what does Max Baucus know about China in his own words?
He'll have to get back to you on that.
Very little. His own words, very little. You don't need to know crap about the country that you are being an ambassador of. But going back to this, Dan, Carney no longer being there, truly a mouthpiece. I mean, what he made Robert Gibbs look decent. Exactly what does this do to the administration in their home stretch?
Well, actually, I think it may help them because ultimately the goal of a press secretary is to take his credibility and spend it until he has none left. And so, I think that's an acknowledgement that they needed a new press secretary who can bring some new credibility, and they hired a guy named Ernest. How can you do better than that?
They're definitely up to a better named press secretary now, because previously the previous press secretary made you think of carnival folk, and clearly some sort of disturbing, macabre mysteries to be held there. Look, it's not like we're expecting more honesty from Josh Earnest or anything like that, but there was a certain shamelessness to Carney that I think it would be good for the administration to try to gravitate away from.
Do we now see from the press corps that there's an etiquette at play? When there's a new press secretary, do they have to rein it in a little bit, give this guy a little bit of latitude, allow him to get used to the position, or are we already in such a level of scandal warfare that it's off to the races from the word go?
I kind of liked the days towards the end of the first term where periodically you would see Jake Tapper and Chuck Todd, who, some days Chuck Todd will be tough in the administration, some days not so tough. They would just go there and they would just take Jay Carney's lunch money every day and just kind of, team up and just ask him questions that they knew he didn't want to answer and just watch him sweat all day long. I think the question is, how does Ernest respond? Does Ernest go, gives reasonably straightforward answers, or does he continue the, I have not spoken with the president about that. I will have to get back to you on that. We do not.
The minute he's asked about the video, did the video cause Benghazi? And he says, well, clearly the CIA talking point. So isn't that the game over moment? Does the press give him any latitude? Is the real question.
I think that it ultimately doesn't make a whole lot of difference. One thing I thought was really telling, saw on Twitter, was Dan Pfeiffer talking about how one of the administration spokesmen talking about how Carney had never really made any errors. And I noted that his choice of the word errors as opposed to untruths, that he wasn't saying Carney always told the truth, just that he always said what he meant to say.
He never made mistakes while lying, is what he meant. All the lies were deliberate and executed well. Is that
Talking with Dan McLaughlin of Red State and the one and only Jim Garrity there. Buy his book, by the way, The Weed Agency. See what I'm doing? See what I'm doing? That's the kind of... Wait, do you have a book to sell, Dan?
I do not at this time.
Dan does not have a book. So that's right now Jim Garrity 1, Dan McLaughlin 0. Let me bring it back to Shinseki and the Shinseki resignation. I was just saying earlier that it is an absolute lack of leadership that Shinseki was allowed to resign and not be fired. Who else is engaging this line of thought, and will we continue to hear, like we've been hearing about these rumblings of Democrats saying, this is beyond a lack of leadership. This is a level of aloofness that is flat out indecent.
I actually think that this is a form of triangulation on the part of the Obama administration, that he could have fired Shinseki, and instead Obama is deciding to triangulate against himself by allowing Democratic Senate candidates to come out and demand Shinseki's resignation, which Obama then provided, rather than doing it on his own and depriving them of the ability to look like they pushed around the president.
Oh, I reject the idea that somehow it gives Democrats strength by being ones who demand that there's I do not believe that for a second. I would disagree strongly, but I'm going to let Jim respond and then tell him why he's wrong too.
No, it gave them I don't think anyone necessarily is feeling skeptical of these red state Democrats will say, well, I was really against Allison Lundergan Grimes, but then she called for Shinseki's resignation, and now I like her again, or something. I'm doubtful of that. I do think, though, that, look, Obama's instinct is never to fire anybody, unless that person, criticizes him personally, like in the case of Stanley McChrystal or General McChrystal and things like that. So occasionally, we know that's what it takes to really get fired from this administration. He'd hang on with Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius for a long stretch. So, incompetence by itself isn't enough to get fired in the Obama administration. Because, look, if he fires him, that means he made a mistake in putting that person in that job in the first place.
Which is a terrible way to look at things. It's a horrific thing to teach going forward. That's you're so unbelievably paranoid and so incapable of accepting your own faults, that a guy who, for a track record, Shinseki's track record in terms of as a general, his military history is unbelievable. So it wasn't the worst play, although it wasn't a necessarily good play to put him in the position to begin with. But I'm going to go back to this thing and quickly, we have a minute. Democrats think that somehow they're going to be able to show how tough they are, how strong they were, by demanding Shinseki's resignation, as opposed to the counter-argument, Dan, which is going to be, why wasn't he fired for letting veterans die on the job? They can go with that?
I'm shocked to find partisan politics being played in this situation.
The Democrats are going to try to say, look, see, we got rid of Shinseki, the problem is solved. And I think most of us, anyone with functioning brain cells will say, no, that's not the case at all. The argument Republicans can and should be making is, look, Democrats love government too much to assess it critically, to assess it in an honest manner, and to be honest about when it fails. So when it fails, their first instinct is defend it. No, it's not as bad as you think. Well, sometimes it really is. Sibelius was bad. Obamacare is as bad. The VA is as bad as we fear.
A very interesting take. Dan McLaughlin, Red State. Jim, what's your last name? Garrity. I was going to say Jim Gaffigan. Comic I love, by the way. Jim Garrity. Buy his book, The Weed Agency, at Amazon.com, wherever fine books are sold. Gentlemen, you're free to fly. Go back to the drinking. This is Tony Katz Tonight.
Take a guess at what's on sale from Unique Home Solutions in May.
Triple pane windows and gutters?
That's right, but that's not all. What else do you think's on sale in May?
How about solid core Statement siding and 50-year roofs?
Right again. That's still not everything.
Sounds like it's easier to say what Unique doesn't have on sale in May.
Everything Unique sells is on sale in May for 25% off. It's Unique's annual spring whole house sale.
Including my favorite kitchen and bath makeovers.
Including kitchen and bath makeovers, too. And the 25% off includes labor.
Am I also right that you have free handyman service just for looking?
Right again. So take advantage of the whole house sale and call Unique.
Unique Home Solutions, 1-800-800-1971.
Their music has moved millions. The OJs. Now, live and in concert. The world-famous OJs for one night only. July 13th.
Emily Zanotti is getting drunk this weekend to Naked DC. She is going to be her own headline. It's going to be the most meta post in Naked DC's history.
The OJs. One night with all their best. Live. A concert night you'll never forget.
You're out your broadcast.
July 13th at the Palladium.
We should hold Kickstarter. Hire Mickey. The Hire Mickey Kickstarter would be very funny.
443-3800. The OJs. July 13th at the Palladium.
No.
There's a current
has to be hired 7 figures, or she won't take the
more
gig.
than a current of electricity.
Someone find me Steven Cruiser
It's
and
a
make sure he's wearing
current of
pants.
IPL employees helping their neighbors.
Well,
Whether it's
day's not
planting
over.
trees at local parks
Now
or
just strangers
serving
are walking
youth
in.
and
It's
elderly
total
in our
madness.
IPL's people are taking the
Madness.
time to
But we'll
make
chat
sure
about the
Rome
other thing
City
after I'm done
grows
here, and I'll share
together.
with you what's going on. And
In
then I'll
fact,
share with
all
you
the
the
power we
second thing,
provide,
because I'm
our
a
power to
gentleman,
give back,
and you should
could
write a
be
book.
The most important.
All I'm saying,
IPL,
if he can do it,
flowing from the
seriously,
heart of
what does it take?
Indianapolis.
Dave, can you explain how companies offer air conditioning clean-in checks for
Kira Davis.
$49.95?
I sure
Sit in
can.
the chair.
It's a marketing idea. Customers pay you.
There she is, ladies and gentlemen. That's Kira Davis right there.
Yes.
She just showed you
The
some
company has
leg.
an invitation into your home.
She just
and the
showed
opportunity
you
to
some
find something
leggy.
wrong. They're not leaving
Look
with
at
the $49.95 to $59.95
Look at you.
or any of
You
the
look at
lowball
ease. You look at one with.
I get it. The
with
homeowner
nature.
is paying for the opportunity to be given a quote to replace their heating
You
and
do. You have a
cooling
glow. You have like
American
a
Standard
thing.
Heating
You have
and
a.
Air Conditioning are
Is
chosen
that it?
branded
How many have you
equipment
had?
Discourages their dealers from offering deals like this. Some manufacturers actually help their dealers to promote this plan.
I can guarantee you we will never offer this deal.
There you go,
We want
guys.
to be your plumbing, heating, and air conditioning provider.
They are.
It's
You're
our
right
goal
there.
to
You're
provide
right.
superior
You are
products and
some
unparalleled
guest.
service to the people of Central Indiana.
Call us today at 243-3581.
B&W Plumbing
I am
and Heating,
sweating.
the professionals. in
I
the
am
big
sweating.
black
It's
trucks.
warm in here.
Still
It's warm in
family owned
here.
and operated for
It is warm.
50 years.
I'm sweating.
243-3581.
No overtime Monday
Oh,
through Saturday,
the humidity
7
is
to 7.
painful. It's not right. It's not right. It's
There's the
racist.
bell. Are you up
Racist
and at 'em,
humidity.
raring to go, or are you down for the count? Could be you've got the wrong bed.
Of
Enter the
course.
sleep number bed. Not only
Hey,
does the Sleep Number
Ashley,
bed
if
allow
I
you to
haven't
adjust
told
to your
you,
perfect firmness,
you may
comfort, and
want
support
to
with your Sleep Number setting,
have
let your
your
partner set his or her perfect sleep
finger on
number
the dump
setting
button.
too. And we all know when your partner's happy, you're happy.
Oh,
Research
good.
proves that.
Yeah,
Sleep
yeah, I
Number
just
bed
thought I'd
contours
share
to
that.
your body for more proper
There's been some
sleep.
drinking.
Sleep Number bed is the only bed.
Oh, I'm advising them. I'm advising them not to
Sleep Number
curse,
bed costs
but I wasn't able to
an ordinary
advise them
mattress
don't drink
that lasts
that
twice
much,
as long.
and
Hurry
they didn't
into a
listen.
Sleep Number store now for the final days of Sleep Number's Memorial Day
Yeah.
event, where all beds
You get
are
to
on
write
sale.
the email to Matt if I have to use the dump button.
Starting at just $649.99
And
for
it's
a C2
American
queen mattress.
currency.
Sale ends Sunday. Only at a Sleep Number store.
R-E-N-T-S-E-E.
Find us at one of our 5 stores in the Indianapolis area. For your local store, visit sleepnumber.com. No better sleep with Sleep Number.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American.
And your
Standard
latest
heating and air
video
conditioning
was
dealer in a
about
comfortable climate.
race.
Owner James Shockey has more than 20 years experience.
I've had time over that 20
Thank you.
years to encounter.
Oh, what was about the shoes? What about the
and
attack on the
come across
NRA?
scenarios that
Thank you very
normal
much.
heating and
Wanted
air
to make sure
companies
I
may
was
not
on
come
the right
across. It gives me
subject.
the experience to
We may talk
diagnose
about
your
that.
problem and
Kira totally has a dirty mouth. Ladies and gentlemen,
20 seconds.
allow it.
Oh, boy, I'm
20
excited
seconds
for this
heard.
dirty mouth.
20 seconds heard. Kira has a very dirty mouth. Not on the air. I mean, she does her own show. But
or call 257 heat
no.
up to 3,000.
I'm going to draw my line at 2 dump buttons. If I have to use it twice.
3,000 more for your
Well, you'll tell me
Pure
if you have to
Estes
use it
Ford
twice. I don't
and
know what to
Pure
tell you.
Estes Chevrolet.
This hour is powered by Whisper
Ashley's
Hearing
all worried.
Centers. You're listening to Tony Katz tonight. To talk to Tony, call 239-9393.
After this, though?
You are go.
Live from Houston, Texas, at Texas Online. Welcome, everybody. Tony Katz tonight. In studio on Monday. I'm in Indianapolis. I get there Sunday. Cannot wait. If there's a Game 7, by the way, do we have an update on the Pacers, Ashley?
I can get you one.
Would you please? That would be great. That'd be fantastic. I'd like an update. Because if there's a Game 7, I have to go. Somebody has to make that happen. Somebody has to make that happen. And I know some people at the station have courtside seats, Kira Davis. And therefore, Tony Katz, as the good luck charm of Indianapolis, as I am, must be there. Right now, joined by Kira Davis, host of The Dark Side on FTR Radio, and a contributor not only to IJ Review, but to American Currency, CURRENTSEE, with the good Dr. Ben Carson. How are you?
I am great. I'm fabulous tonight. I've had a few shots of whiskey. I mean, I'm feeling good. America's awesome.
Your last video. Your latest video, because people know you. I mean, they know you from your writing, and they know you from appearing here, there, and everywhere. But it's the videos. It is what you have done in so many different places about whether it was talking about Ahmed Karzai or how American presidents shouldn't apologize. Your conversations on race. And you can subscribe. Where is it? Is it just Kira Davis on YouTube?
Just look me up, Kira Davis, Kira Davis, and you can look me up on YouTube. It'll take you right to my page, and I have all kinds of videos on there regarding current events, like you said, race, anything that's going on. I just turn on the webcam and talk.
And the last one you did was about the shooting and stabbing and murderous rampage of a psychopath, of a dangerous individual in Santa Barbara, and you were discussing, I mean, remember, we broadcast in Indianapolis. We broadcast in the home of Shannon Watts and Moms Demand Action, which were some of those who immediately went to attacking the NRA as opposed to even learning what happened. It is this knee-jerk reaction, and that's what your video was about.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I'm actually from Gary, so I know what it's like to live in a place where there's a lot of gun violence, a lot of homicides, a lot of gang activity. I'm not ignorant to gun violence, but ironically, Gary was the first place where I became a gun advocate because I realized I'm living there with 2 children. You know, at one point my husband had to leave us for a few months for a job, and I was like, it doesn't make sense for all these criminals to have a weapon, and I don't have anything to protect us. So I understand the fear of weapons. I really do, because that's who I was. But now I live in California, a place where it's almost impossible to get weapons if you're a law-abiding citizen, and yet these psychos get weapons, and every time we have an event like this, we want to blame the weapon. My thing is, living in Southern California, I have become intimately involved with the Hollywood culture, and I understand the way that people think there, and we don't put enough onus on them. All these Hollywood types, these actors, actresses, producers come out and say, we need to ban guns, da-da-da. Let me ask you, Tony, when was the last time you saw an NRA ad where you were like, yeah, that's sexy, that's hot?
I have never seen. Actually, I don't think I've ever seen an NRA ad. But the funniest one is we talked about this. There was a press conference the other day in Santa Barbara with some stars talking about we need to do something. One of them was Joe Montana, of all people. And the other one who came out against gun violence, Snoop Dogg.
That's hilarious.
How dare he? You built an entire career from the gun, and all of a sudden I'm the bad guy.
Now that I have money and I can live in a gated community where you plebes can't get in and bother me, I'm against gun violence. No, listen, you're right. When is the last time you saw an NRA ad? Here's the thing. Are your children more likely to be influenced by what they see on MTV or on the Disney Channel or a trailer for the new Angelina Jolie movie, or are they more likely to be influenced by the NRA? Who exactly is perpetrating the culture of gun violence? The last time I checked, Hollywood are the ones that are making gun violence sexy. Women in low-cut shirts, dudes with no shirts on, they're all brandishing guns and it's, killing people for 2 hours at a time.
I want to say that I am opposed to the dudes with no shirts on. That is not right. That is not right. I do not want to see dudes with no shirts on. So I just want to say I agree with you on that point, that that's a serious problem.
That's sexist.
I'm okay with that. I'm really fine with that. We're talking with Kira Davis. Follow her on Twitter at Kira, Kira, and Ayn Davis, Davis. You should make that more difficult for people. If you could, just figure out a way, like add a schwa and an umlaut, and you'd be fine.
The way you say it is Kira Ayn Davis, and people understand that better. A lot of people don't believe that is my name, but this is actually my name.
Is it Kira Ayn Davis? How long have I known you? You didn't tell me that.
It really is my name. My parents are dirty liberal hippies, but for some reason they loved Ayn Rand. So when I was born, they named me after a character in one of the books. We the Living, the main character's name is Kira, and they named me after Ayn Rand. Although we say Ann in our family, we just pronounce it Ann, but it's Ayn. It's Kira Ayn Rand. That really is my name.
I had absolutely no idea. Now I like you even more. You do a lot of work with guns. You work with an organization in California about guns, and I discuss it. I mean, we live in different parts of Southern California, but not too far. And the impossibility of getting a concealed weapons permit, the attack on open carry, the attack on and the attack comes from people like Leland G., who writes laws telling you why you can't have a gun, and then he's working on gun running from drug syndicates in the Philippines. This constant hypocrisy that comes at us, is there an end in sight? Can it ever end?
No, I really don't believe there is. I think it's sin. I think human beings are sinful creatures, and I think that we're always going to be judgmental, and we're always going to want to feel better than the next person. And that's what you see in the gun control movement. I don't really believe it's people who feel concerned for safety, because if you were concerned about safety, then you would advocate for families, for vulnerable women, for old people. Tony, let me tell you, and some of your listeners might remember this story here in Indiana, but a good friend of mine in Gary, Indiana, the McClendons, Theo McClendon, his parents were murdered about 7 years ago. Elderly, both in their 80s. 2 local thugs from Gary broke into their home, beat their father and their mother, beat the father and the mother, 80 years old, both of them. Father was a decorated war veteran, dragged them out to the woods while they were alive, beat them and tortured them in the woods, and then shot them both in the head. And it was a horrifying, horrifying crime. These were people that had contributed to our community, who had taught children. The mom was a teacher in Gary for years and years and years. They were defenseless. They were defenseless against these young thugs that came in and took advantage of that weakness. Yeah. And I realized as a mother when that happened, it is irresponsible of me not to do everything I can to protect myself against evil like that. Because no matter what people want you to believe, evil does exist. There are some people in this world who will just do things because they can. And I'm sorry that that's hard to accept and you can't reason it and you can't like figure out why people would do that. Sometimes there's no explanation. Some people just want to do bad things. And good people have every right to protect themselves against people who want to do bad things.
When we talk about Moms Demand Action and Shannon Watts, I constantly remind people that what they say in terms of we want common sense gun reform does not match up with what they talk about via social media or the events that they do where they talk about getting guns off the street. They are, in actuality, in reality, anti-protection. And we see this more and more, and we see it especially when these kinds of horrors happen, and they go to this place where it says, well, this person may be horrible, may be evil, may be a murderer, but if they didn't have the access to the gun, this never would have happened. This guy, Elliot Rodger, stabbed 3 people to death. He stabbed 3 people to death. He tried to run people over. I mean, this was a guy who had it. I mean, there is no excusing it. There is no trying to explain it. Just a disgusting, sad guy who was never taught to be resilient and never taught a million different things, not only probably by his parents, but truly a societal conversation.
This is the conversation I think we need to be having. We are having the wrong conversation about this subject. The conversation we need to be having is, why are we raising a whole generation of children who have no value for life? It's not the weapon. A gun cannot pick itself up and shoot at anybody. I know that sounds cliche, but the first time I fired a weapon as a staunch anti-gun advocate, that's what I was. The first time I fired a weapon, I realized this is a tool. It's like scissors. It's like a hammer. It cannot operate without a human being behind it. We are not talking about the right thing. How about how Hollywood objectifies women? How about how the Hollywood culture is raising a generation of children with no proper coping mechanisms? We've removed God from everything. We've put God on the margin, take him out of the school, take him out of the public square, and then we wonder why these kids can't handle their lives, handle the trauma, handle the changes and all of the ups and downs of lives, and then they, end up turning to violence.
I discuss the resiliency issue all the time. Kira Ein Davis, ladies and gentlemen, on Twitter at Kira, KiraAyn Davis. Also check her out on YouTube. You're a treat, my friend. Good to see you. More ahead. This is Tony Katz Tonight.
Attention business owners. Under a new small business pilot program, business owners are now being mailed checks for up to $35,000 or more. Yes, you heard that right. If you've been in business for at least 6 months, you could qualify for up to $35,000 or more in just days. This amazing new Get Cash for Your Business program is so effective, it virtually eliminates the need to look for any more capital. Business owners nationwide are receiving checks now under this new program. You finally have an easier way to get the cash you need with no restrictions. You decide what to do with the cash. But hurry, because this program is only available for a limited time. A check for up to $35,000 could have your name on it. Call 800-605-2819 to find out how to receive up to $35,000 or more. Call 800-605-2819. That's
Horatio Ignatius.
605-2819.
Yeah, I'm doing it with the doors open. That's how I roll. But we're just waiting to come back on the air. You just move the thing. I got one mic. I got 2 turntables and a microphone.
Did you know your heartbeat?
That's all I need. It's good enough for Beck. It's good enough for me.
The music you listen to? Here's another fact you can take to heart. For 3 years running, Franciscan St. Francis Health is Indianapolis' only 5-star rated hospital for heart valve repair and replacement surgery by health grades. Pioneering heart surgeon, Dr. Mark.
Where is Larry O'Connor?
Our cardiologists and surgeons work together to create a unique advanced care plan.
Like not
we
in
established
Texas,
Indiana's
though?
first dedicated heart
Oh,
valve
good
center.
Lord.
Patients with the most complex heart conditions.
So they got stuck in the
come to us
Carolinas
for our
somewhere.
expertise and experience in
Can we get an
next-generation
APB
techniques
on
and
Larry
market
O'Connor
research.
and Ben Howe,
Our innovative
please?
spirit has created a tradition of
Something.
accomplishment, leading to our top 2%
Oh,
national
wow.
ranking for
Are we
heart surgery
anti-Ben?
with
health grades.
Are you an anti-Benite?
Franciscan St. Francis Health, a century of inspiring health. Schedule an appointment or
With
second
who?
opinion with our world-renowned valve
Okay.
team. Then you'll know your heart is in the right place. Call 877-78-VALVE. That's 877-78-VALVE. Stay tuned for a special offer that will rejuvenate and renew your looks even as you age.
That's
If you
right.
live
I
in the
whispered something to him. It was
Indianapolis
very
area,
important.
You may be a candidate for a procedure
Very,
that helps
very
remove
hushy, hushy,
wrinkles,
hush, hush.
frown lines, and sagging
You will
skin
never
on your
know.
face and neck. You've probably heard
How
about
much time do we have,
lifestyle
Ashley?
lift.
How
It's that
much
groundbreaking
time?
technique that delivers long-lasting
2.5 minutes until you're bald.
simple in-office
Oh, they're very
procedure
upset
with
you're
a
wearing
local
pants.
lifestyle
Could you
lift
take care of
doctor.
that?
You'll
Could you just
look more
take them
youthful,
off?
more
Take them off.
rested, more
Take,
Yeah, I
see.
can do that.
Learn more about
Not
lifestyle
you.
lift now and come see us for a
You didn't specify.
and facial analysis, but not everyone's a
What's that,
candidate,
Steven?
so call us to see if you qualify. And for the first time in the Indianapolis
It's
area,
Friday.
everyone who calls right now for a
This doesn't actually
Do
work
you
for
want to know
you.
the Pacers score?
I do want to know the Pacers score, please.
Procedures.
At the half.
800-456-7968.
Miami 60.
Find out about flexible payment.
Indiana
options.
not
Call
60.
800-456-7968.
That would be 34.
Start the summer
Ooh.
with a fresh new look and a $250
It's hard to be down by
gift
26 and a
certificate.
half
Call
and pull it
now
out.
at 800-456-7968.
They don't even have 40 points.
456-7968.
What's up? It's Pat McAfee from More Restoration. If you've ever had an unexpected
her music
fire
collection
flood,
is
you know exactly
ridiculous.
what it feels like to be standing on your own goal
We
line,
are actually
facing a
in the
rough and
office
tough
of
defense
Melissa
when 4th and
Tweets.
long. When you feel like punting due to a fire
Doing
or
this
flood,
show.
don't kick with a company you've never heard of. Call the company the pros call. Call the company I called. Call More Restoration, the official restoration company of the Indianapolis Colts.
What's
I've had my
that?
pals from More Restoration and Mikasa,
Yeah,
and
well,
you shouldn't
she
think
likes
twice
her
about
drugs.
having them
I
to
don't know.
yours. More Restoration,
I don't know what to tell you
the
there.
official restoration company of the Indianapolis Colts, and no, Pat McAfee.
Circle City Sound.
The chat room saying from Red Eye last night to
Chorus
Tony
presents
Katz
Doo-Wop
tonight
to
to
Woodstock,
step up.
Saturday, June 14th at 7 p.m.
And by the way,
at the
Greg
Palladium in
was
Carmel.
dealing with
For
his
more information and to order
mother's
tickets,
passing.
go to the centerfortheperformingarts.org or call the Palladium box office.
No, but I heard it went well.
843-3800.
I was asleep. I
Don't
didn't
miss
see it.
this one-day-only performance
I was
by
busy.
Circle City Sound,
My eyes
Indianapolis'
closed.
premier men's chorus, as they present Doo-Wop to Woodstock, Saturday, June 14th, 7
1
p.m.
minute.
at the Palladium. For more information,
That's how I
and
feel about it when
tickets,
I'm
go
there.
to the Center for the Performing Arts.
Not on the show, just in
or call
between
the Palladium
Joanne and
box office
Jedediah.
At 843-3800.
Now during Menards
Oddly
Big Sale,
enough,
it's
Jedediah,
the
a little
perfect
crush
time
on
to
me.
start your summer projects.
That's a little rumor
Save
I'm
big
just
on
starting
lawn and
right here,
garden,
right now.
building supplies, plus much more. All true definition shingles by Owens
I know.
Corning are on sale in stunning designer colors to give your home a great new look.
I
Plus
can understand
exclusive
it.
Sure-Nail design that makes them strong enough to withstand winds up to
I
130
can
miles
understand.
per
All right,
hour.
we're going to begin.
Roof your home with the best.
Don't curse.
Owens Corning True Definition Shingles.
Not curse and
on sale.
and do not engage racism.
Did you know 1 in 10 people have hearing loss? Take Whisper Hearing Center's free hearing quiz at
Yes.
whisperhearingcenters.com
That is correct.
or call 866-831-5967.
That is absolutely correct.
Whisper Hearing Centers.
To talk to Tony Katz, call
talk to Tony Katz.
800-571-9422 or 239-9393. This is Tony Katz Tonight.
You are go.
Tony Katz tonight, everybody. Great to be with you live from Houston, Texas. Texas Online. Not only attending, speaking with, of course, our threesome, Tracked and Targeted, trackedandtargeted.com on Twitter, Tracked Targeted. That is myself, Kurt Schlichter, and the one and only joining me right now, Steven Cruiser. Good to see you. Red Eye last night, Tony Katz tonight.
When I hit the road, I don't mess around. 48 hours, and I'm back and forth all over the place for America.
So I want to talk about what we're doing, this thing that we're doing, and we'll get into the Jay Carney resignation because I've been asking about that. Spoke to Jim Garrity and Dan McLaughlin about that earlier. It has become painfully obvious that way too many conservatives don't have a sense of humor, and you've been in the comedy biz for a long time. I'm not in the comedy biz. I just happen to be hilarious. But you're in the comedy business. Do you agree or disagree with the sentiment that conservatives aren't funny?
Not that they're not funny. That's ridiculous. Conservatives have a great sense of humor. It's just when we present ourselves professionally, something gets lost in the translation. You look around, you hear right now. It's loud, it's boisterous, it's drunk, it's laughing, and then you bring all these people into a setting and it'll be, oh, you know, and something happens there all the time.
So, but when you take a look at what gets pushed out there, you take a look at the image that gets put out there. It is that image, that button down and everything, and very, very, I don't know if I want to use demure or just stick in the mud or stick up the you know what. This is a very different show that we're doing with Tracked and Targeted.
Yeah, we want it to be fun. You can have a conversation about these. It's essentially trying to take what's happening here and bringing it to a stage format for people to look at. Have the conversations about politics, but make it a little more conversational and make it fun and have a good time. And you and I, when we thought about it, we thought you know, there was some alcohol and we were talking and we thought this would be fun for people to watch, and we're right, probably. Yeah.
So let us go into what is fun, which is watching Jay Carney head off into the sunset because there's nothing left to lie about. Clearly, what is next for Jay Carney?
What is next for Jay Carney? That's Caleb Howe had a perfect tweet about it earlier. Now I don't remember. It wasn't perfect, but it was good. It was Caleb Howe-esque. It wasn't the kind of thing I would do. Most of the things I would say about Jay Carney's future right now can't be said on this show. I do find – here's the thing about people leaving this administration, though. We tend to get excited about it, but you have to remember if there's one hallmark of the Obama administration is that there's almost always somebody worse waiting in the wings. This Ernest dude, whatever his name – Josh Ernest, he's going to be worse than Carney. If you remember when Gibbs was there, we all thought Gibbs was the worst thing that could inhabit that office, and then he left and we're going, I kind of miss Gibbs. Yeah. You know, so there's always somebody worse waiting. You can't get too excited about people leaving this administration.
I had asked the question earlier to Garrity and to McLaughlin there, McLaughlin of Red State, Jim Garrity of National Review. I asked the question to you. Does the press give him a pass, give Josh Ernest, the new press secretary, a pass and time to get into the job, or is with everything going on, it's day one, here, we're going to punch you in the throat?
The White House press corps will absolutely give him a pass. They'll give him a honeymoon period. They're starting to be a little bit mad about this veterans thing, but by the time Carney makes his official exit in a week or two or whenever the heck that's supposed to be, you know, they'll say, oh, this new guy, we can't hold him accountable for. And when have they really been that rough yet? When has the press corps been rough on an Obama press secretary, other than in maybe recent weeks? This VA thing is kind of really screwed up the relationship the Obama administration has had with the press and many other Democrats.
First it was President Obama, then it was 50 Cent. Why don't we have people who can throw a baseball anymore? What is happening? They can't get it across home plate or near home plate or somewhere around the baseball diamond.
President Obama was just tragically awful to watch because the form was sad and everything. What Fitty did was he almost killed somebody. He turned it into a weapon that went in a whole different direction. That was I watched that thing I watched the Vine of that where it just kept going over, and I couldn't believe it each time that I saw it. It's a rough thing. You got to if you ever get to throw out the first pitch in a baseball game, make sure it's in like 6 months from now and you practice.
I lost the arm, man. I'll never be able to throw a ball like that again. I couldn't reach home plate right now with this arm, with this surgery, if I wanted to. When you take a look at what's next for Obama, he's got 2 more years. He's got his main liar is gone. The new liar is going to have to be broken in. What's his bunker? What's his game plan for the next 2 years?
I really thought he would be in a coasting position by now where he could do some legacy building with his friends in the press, you know. And I think it's interesting because they are getting a little more contentious now, and he's not just being able to cement that legacy. I think it's a strange thing, and if these scandals don't get nipped in the bud, you know, I think he may keep getting bitten in the you-know-what by the poor management skills he's had all along, by his hands-off approach to everything. I think there could be more of this, and he's just going to be putting out fires for the rest of the term now.
I almost can't wait to witness the level of deflection that comes next, because with the new press secretary, just like this whole past couple of weeks, everything's been sports related, right? He's playing catch with kids. He's heading to Cooperstown. He's doing anything to get your mind off of it. Now he's got the new press secretary. You're hoping for you think there's going to be a little bit of honeymoon. I don't know what he's going to turn next to decide that it's George Bush's fault or Republicans' fault or racism or what have you.
Here's what he's not going to be able to dodge is that Shinseki's gone, but the problem remains. This is not like a Band-Aid where you get rid of the one guy. So this scandal that's dogging him right now isn't going to go away just because they decided to do a Friday news dump resignate, because nobody ever really gets fired from the Obama administration. They leave. So he's still got the exact same problems he had yesterday. He's done the one Band-Aid thing he can do. He's got no more Band-Aids left. He's actually going to have to do something about it, so it's not going to be easy.
The real problem is, just like with Obamacare, there are going to be some glitches, and there'll be some glitches in fixing the VA, and those glitches will last at least until he's out of office. Steven Cruiser right there my partner in Tracked and Targeted. Follow him on Twitter at Steven Cruiser, Kruiser. You can follow me on Twitter at Tony Katz, TonyKatz. Look at him. You can see him on the video there. Guys, I am in Indy Sunday. I'll be in studio on Monday. Looking forward to that quite a bit. Can't thank you all enough. Someone's got a birthday here at Texas Online. It's unbelievable. Until Monday, everybody, much love. Take care.
Announcing the Mike's Car Wash Father's Day stock up with our lowest prices of the year, as low as $5.33 per wash. And
guys,
buy 4 get 2
we're out.
free. At prices like
we'll
these,
see you later.
You can afford
thank
to
you,
stock
thank
up for the
you,
whole
thank you,
year.
and thank you.
Your dad.
In fact, why not get Mike's Car Wash books for just about anyone?
Don't forget your dad.
The graduate, your mom, your brother, your boss,
boom.
your mailman,
Later,
yourself.
Your dad.
There's nobody who wouldn't appreciate a gift during the amazing Mike's Car Wash Father's Day stock up.
Like your dad.
Every wash book is on sale, from Mike's basic car wash book to our Works Plus book, including Tire Shine. And they're all buy 4 washes, get 2 free. At our lowest prices of the year, as low as $5.33 per wash. The question isn't whether to get a gift for someone, it's who you might be forgetting.
Don't forget your dad.
Stock up for anyone, even Dad, at any Mike's location. Sale ends Father's Day. Right, Dad?
Right.
Wow, this is Dick from Dr. Dirt. With the recent storms, if you think you have hail damage, call the only company I recommend. All-Star Roof Siding.